Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name's JD. Who's here with me?
It's Jenna again.
It's Jenna sitting in for the on sabbatical Michelle. It's sometimes Jenna now. Here's the thing: when Michelle comes back, I'm still gonna just keep saying it's always Michelle, and I'm sorry, Jenna. It's We will love and respect the time you spent with us, but I'm a creature of habit, and what I'll probably do is I will say it's always Michelle, except for like those few times that Jenna had to come in and do the show. But we don't talk about those anymore, except when we do, and then Michelle will be like, "Drink." Be another,
That's fair.
She's got a whole drinking game. Anyway, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How about yourself?
I mean, I'm still alive in Trump's America in 2026, so, take that how you will.
What a time.
What a time. It was Mother's Day yesterday. My mom is dead, of course. We've talked about that several times in a very glib fashion. It was kind of a mellow day. But to keep myself distracted, I went out to drive some DoorDash and listen to a bunch of great music. And turns out Mother's Day is a really good day to go out door dashing. So it ended up being nice and lucrative. Mama took care of me on Mother's Day. I mean, that whole thing, whatever. I'm not like a real believer in ghosts in the afterlife, but sometimes it's fun to tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. I suppose a lot of people are ordering in and...
Yeah,
needing some delivery, so it is probably a decent day.
I actually, and like big respect to these folks, I got a lot of I do a lot of shop and drop stuff for DoorDash, where you go out and you actually do the grocery shopping and then take it all to them.
Yeah.
And the reason I do it is because I started doing it just because I wanted to maximize my opportunities, and then I found out very quickly that the shop and drop pays way better than the, as a general rule, than the food deliveries do. But anyway, long story, a little bit longer. I had multiple orders yesterday where I went to grocery store and very quickly, instead of just picking up like a dinner for somebody at a restaurant and bringing it to them, I was bringing them all the stuff to make a dinner for Mom at home, and big ups to those guys. Whoever you were, good on you taking care of Mom.
Yeah, that's nice. Unfortunately, my mom does not live here in town, so we chatted on the phone for a little bit, and then I went to the Hell's Fury tattoo convention for...
Ooh, how was that?
Good. Very good. It was at Bruhala. And they packed a lot of vendors in there, saw some really incredible artwork, watched some judging for a little bit, picked up some cards for some different shops, bought some artwork. Good time.
Ooh, sweet. Yeah, I also, side note, by the way, if your relationship with your mom is not so great, and Mother's Day is a rough one for you, if for that reason or any other reason, it's okay. Big hugs. Jenna's your mom now. I just volunteered you to be everybody's mom.
I will be your mom.
Yeah. I'll be your mom, too. This is fucking... We don't believe in fucking gender norms here. I could be your mom.
I feel like, mom is more of vibes.
Mom's mentality, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely a vibe. Well, anyway, now that we've solved all the world's problems...
I'm not the most nurturing, but I am proud of you, listener.
Proud of you. And here for... I was going to say here for support, but that's actually what you just said was you're not the most nurturing. So I don't know where to go with this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, side note, by the way, if this is your first time tuning in to We Watch Shudder, thank you for checking out the show. Always like to welcome new listeners. Jenna is, as I mentioned, sitting in for my regular longtime co-host, Michelle, who's dealing with a whole lot of heavy shit. Michelle, if you are out there listening, because I know you listen to these things obsessively, we love you. We hope you're doing well. We're looking forward to going to see Obsession with you in a couple of days. Yeah, we're going to, as we record this, we're 2 days away from the early screening of Curry Barker's first theatrical feature film, Obsession. We were talking about it a bit before we started recording. I am stoked.
I am so excited. This is like my most anticipated horror that's like really, really upcoming. There's some stuff later in the year, but I've been looking forward to this for months.
Yeah, and even, like May has been already packed with a lot of solid stuff. I'm with you. This is definitely the one. And I'm not even the biggest Curry Barker fan, right? Like, I got into Curry through Michelle. I think he's incredibly talented. The couple of things that I've seen I liked, but they're not really entirely my vibe, right? And that's going to happen sometimes. But I saw the trailer for this in front of, I want to say, Faces of Death, and I was immediately like, holy shit, I need to see this, and I am giddy with excitement. I'm so glad Michelle finally, for a change, actually extended an invitation for a theater visit to me. I give
I know that you're always giving her shit. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, exactly. She'll post on her Facebook. She's like she's going to see a movie, and it's not just Michelle. I'll go to movies by myself, right? Because that's kind of a thing I just like to do for myself sometimes. But she's got like this laundry list of people, and it's always a horror movie. Well, not always. Mostly horror movies. And all these people that are going to the movie with her didn't even bother to send me a message and ask me if I wanted to go. 350 plus episodes of this goddamn podcast we've done. Look, guys, the truth of the matter is I don't want to go most of the time, and it's fine. But she makes these posts, and I'm just like, thanks for the invite, Michelle, all caps. Oh, we love our Michelle. She's the best.
We do. She is.
Yeah. You know what's not the best? Cat's out of the bag. Whistle. That's what we're here to talk about today. 2025. I think it played a couple of festivals and got a little small release last year and then hit theaters big time early this year. Did you see Whistle when it was in the theater, Jenna?
I did not. I saw it for the very first time on Shudder this past Saturday. I got up really early and watched it while I ate breakfast. I didn't get up early specifically to watch this. I was up early anyways. Okay. And I'm like, well, I might as well stay up now. And I like made some breakfast and watched Whistle.
I did see this in the theater. And to be totally honest, it had slipped my mind that it was a Shudder-related film. It even says so in the credits right away at the beginning of the movie, but I didn't remember that part. And so when I saw it on the Shudder release schedule, I was like, oh, shit, yeah, that's a Shudder movie, so I'm going to have to watch that one again. I don't know if you can tell by how I'm talking about this one, guys, but we'll get to it. Did you know anything about this going in?
I knew, like, the general premise of the movie, so I, kind of pieced together, I think, most of the rest of it, but, yeah. Aztec Death Whistle.
Yeah, that's what I knew about it, is obviously it's centered around the Aztec Death Whistle, which, by the way, first of all, real thing, and if you've never heard one, you know what? I'm going to make a note right now. If you've never heard an Aztec Death Whistle, I'm going to play a sample of one for you right now. Holy shit. Jenna, you've heard an Aztec Death Whistle for real, haven't you?
I don't know if I've heard one, like, for real.
Oh, well, then I'll make sure to play. You should Google it and watch her like a YouTube video. So obviously I can't play it for you right now, and by the time I get it edited in, it'll be tomorrow. But it's fucking wild. You can buy them. People took breakdowns of the designs of these ancient ones that they found, because of course some researchers, sometimes they find a broken one or something. Maybe sometimes they cut them in half, but they figured out how it works. Now you get them like 3D printed or whatever, just like resin cast or what. But they are fucking horrifying, as you guys all heard just a moment ago, because I remembered to edit it in. Here it is one more time, just in case you forgot. fucking nuts, right? Nuts. Jenna's just over there like, I sure hope you're marking the times down because this is real weird for me.
Yeah, I'm just using theater of the mind right now and imagining what it sounds like.
It's incredible. I will send you the specific clip I'm going to use because it's
Does
my
it sound
one of them.
like a lot different than it does in the movie?
Yes. Yeah. It sounds like a person screaming, like just a person screaming in terror and agony. It's nuts. It's fucking wild.
So now
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So now I'm picturing a different sound because I don't know if you've ever spent a lot of time in the woods. But I don't want to assume that you haven't. But I used to do like a lot of hunting and stuff. I have not for years, but rabbits in the wild sound exactly like a woman screaming bloody murder, and it is one of the most terrifying sounds I have ever heard, like in person. So that's what I'm imagining that the Aztec death whistle sounds like.
Very similar. I have not spent a lot of time in the woods, but I do know what it sounds like when rabbits scream, because one time I was out of my grandma's house. My grandma lived right on the outskirts, like the real edge of town, and there were some weird folks who lived in that part of town. And one day I heard this real terrified, wild shrieking just come out of nowhere, and then I saw one of these dudes like walking through the alley, and he was carrying a rabbit by the back legs. I don't know if he planned to eat it or whatever, but yeah, so I know what a fucking rabbit. It's very similar. It's fucking anyway. So I was real excited about this movie, right? Because I just love the fucking concept of an Aztec death whistle, and it's a movie called Whistle. I got Aztec death whistle, and shit goes haywire. Fine, sign me up. Long way around. That's what I knew about it. And I don't know if I want to say anymore. Anyway.
Shoot. I had meant to like actually look into like real Aztec death whistles and just learn more about them, but I ran out of time. I did not do that.
Well, I tell you what. Let's talk about the movie. I'm going to hit you with a descripty script here from the Shudder website. And then, man, I hope you got some great spoiler-free thoughts prepared, Jenna.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't have a ton of notes on this, but...
Me either. All right, so here we go.
Chat.
A misfit group of high school students stumble upon an ancient death whistle. Whistle. 2025. Hour and 40 minutes. Get fucked. This is Whistle. Jenna, what were your spoiler-free thoughts on Whistle?
A little predictable, I guess. Like, it was kind of a fun premise, but just some of the ways that they went about things in this movie, I was like, what? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too like kind of jaded on like 30-year-olds playing high schoolers, and it never comes across as authentically high school. So I'm like, high schoolers are talking like this or acting like this. Knock it off. But there were some fun kills in it. I'll give it that.
All right. What's your skull rating on Whistle?
I'll go 2 out of 5 skulls.
2 skulls for Whistle. Yeah, it was it's very reminiscent, I think, of it felt like a very straightforward kind of mainstream horror movie, right? Like, it was trying to appeal to that same sort of like that Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, even Final Destination kind of vibe, although not quite so severe. Maybe like a Smile kind of vibe. It was aiming for that sort of area. I agree with you. There were a couple of pretty rad kills. Some of the special effects in this are really good. I also agree with you that I just didn't care about these characters for even a moment. This movie also uses one of the most annoying, ridiculous, in my opinion, story tropes that the moment it happened was guaranteed to remove me from this movie entirely. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. I'm sure you already know what it is. It's happened in other movies that we've talked about on this podcast, but I don't want to say what they are either, because I don't want to spoil anything. But, yeah, Two Skulls is what I gave it when I saw it in the theater. I watched it again just to be sure. I don't see any reason to change that in any way. It didn't do anything super egregious. It just didn't appeal to me really at all. Two Skulls.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree that was kind of the demographic that I think they were trying to target, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I just think it could have been like maybe a little more fun about it.
Well, and especially at an hour and 40 minutes, if you're going to run that long, you better have some meat on your bones, and there was not a lot of meat there, I thought, unfortunately. And also, I think this is something we were talking about before we recorded, and we'll get into it more in the spoilers section, but it tries to do things with characters that I feel were just unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, you could have trimmed this movie up and gotten all the good stuff and just kind of, I don't know, it was maybe trying a little harder than it needed to, in my opinion. So, that's spoiler-free thoughts. If you don't want any spoilers on the movie before you get a chance to see it, this is where you're going to want to stop. But now me and Jenna going to spoil the shit out of this movie for you. I will be stepping in again to run unless you want to run the plot summary, Jenna. I'm just kind of operating from the assumption that I'm going to do it. But you can do it anytime you want to do it.
You can do this one.
Okay.
I feel like if I do it, it's going to be like 2 sentences long because
Well, I'm not going to get much longer, but
I don't know if I like spaced out a bunch of the middle of the movie or if I like maybe there's just not much to say about it. I don't know. Anyways, go ahead.
All right. So there's this movie. It's called Whistle, and that's what we're here to watch. When the movie starts, there's a basketball game, and it's in a gym that very much looks like a high school gym. So we can safely assume it's a high school basketball game. And it's a real close game, and there's the one guy on the one team who he's playing a really tense game, but he also looks like he's distracted about something. And it's right at the end of the big game, and like he's seeing all this like weird smoke and stuff up in the bleachers, and goes to take the final shot right at the buzzer, and gets it, but then there's like a person on fire standing under the basketball hoop, and he runs away scared while everybody's celebrating. And then everybody finally comes back to the locker room, and they're all just kind of still celebrating some more, and the guy who hit that shot is in the shower by himself, and then while nobody's looking, boom, he bursts into flames because the weird flame monster showed up in the shower again. And that's how the movie starts. And now it's like a little while later, and there's this girl, and she's in her bedroom, and then this guy just like shows up, and it turns out he's a friend of hers, and his name is Rel, and her name is Chris, which apparently is short for chrysanthemum. But we learn very quickly that Chris and Rel used to be friends, and then she went away, and then now she's come back from something, which turns out to be she did a bunch of drugs, and she accidentally killed her dad.
Isn't it her cousin?
What?
Isn't Rel her cousin or something?
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. Never mind.
So Rel and Chris go to school, and she immediately gets bullied at school by this jock because she gets assigned to use the locker that the fire bursting kid had, and his jock buddy thinks that's some bullshit. And so he's being a dick, and she knees him in the crotch, and now they're all going to detention. because the principal, Nick Frost, is a dick, like every high school principal you've ever known in your life. And so now you got, and then the one girl tries to stick up for the other one. She's like, hey, she didn't do nothing wrong. He was being a dick, and she was protecting herself. And then Principal Nick Frost is just the Principal Dick Frost. That's his name from now on. He says, hey, you can go to fucking detention too. Like a real dick. I was like, what's going on? Anyway, so now all these kids are in detention. But Chris, in the meantime, finds this weird whistle thing or doesn't even know it's a whistle, but she finds this weird Aztec-looking thing in her locker, which was we saw in the hands of the Burst into Flames kid earlier in the movie. And then they're all in detention, and the one other jock kid, he sees the thing, and he's like, hey, is this drug addict allowed to have a bong in here? And she's like, it's not a bong. I don't know what the fuck it is. It was just in my locker. And then Principal Dick Frost, he takes it from her, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck it is. And they're trying to translate the runes on it or whatever, the Aztec language. And he's saying the words, and the one girl puts those words into are you making faces at a kitty cat?
No, at my dog.
Okay, all of a sudden you started making like a kissy face, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's
Sorry.
all weird. Jesus.
I forgot that you can see me.
No, that's okay. Anyway, so he's like there, and she puts the words into like a website translator, and it says "summon the dead," which turns out to, I will say, I did appreciate the plot point that the reason they didn't know what the fuck this thing was going to do is because they relied on Google Translate and didn't get the exact correct pronunciation. Because, surprise, it doesn't say summon the dead. It says summon your death. We'll get to that in just a minute. But so he keeps this thing and sends them all back. He's like, you guys get out of here and go fucking write a paper, because he's found out that this thing might be worth a whole shit pile of money. And so they all go, and this is where the first thing happens that I'm like, that would never fucking happen, is so they're all outside after detention, and they're like, oh, we're going to get together and maybe write these papers or something. And the one girl, she's trying to be nice, and so she invites Chris and Rel to come to the gathering that her and her dickhead jock boyfriend are also going to be at. Which, cool, you're trying to smooth things over. But then the completely unbelievable part is that Chris and Rel say, yeah, sure, we'll come hang out with the guy that you just had such a conflict with. You had to knee him in the groin and was making fun of you for being a drug addict and accidentally killing your dad. You're going to go hang out with that guy after detention now? Bullshit. Anyway, they all get together. They blow the whistle. It's a weird, crazy, I don't know why they didn't just use the actual whistle sound, but they ran it through all these processors and gave it all these echoes and this whole weird thing. Totally unnecessary. The whistle itself is terrifying. But now they're like, well, not sure what's going on. And one by one, they all start to die. They're at like a harvest festival around Halloween, and the one girl, she runs off into the corn maze or whatever, and then the death thing starts to follow her. Because it turns out what's going on, this is confusing. It's because I didn't pay close enough attention. I'm bouncing around all over the place. But they find out that what's happening is when you blow the whistle, what was going to be your death whenever it was going to happen starts rushing towards you more quickly. And all of a sudden, that's why the kid burst into flames in the shower, is because he was supposed to die in an explosion of a gas line when he was like 40 years old, but his death caught up to him early, and now he just bursts into flames. So we get to see how they would have died if they had died when they died. And the one girl, lucky her, in the sense that, apparently she just died of being really fucking old, as she slowly but surely desiccates as the death thing gets a hold of her, and she turns into this ancient corpse, and she's dead. Not so lucky for the fellas in this game, because the dickhead jock boyfriend apparently died in a savage motor accident where he got plowed over by some giant truck, and he gets fucking ripped apart piece by piece in some crazy gore shit, gets like half his body ripped off, It's wild. And then poor old Rel, his whole thing. Oh, I totally forgot the part where there was this guy he works at the church, but he's also a drug dealer, and he was trying to get at Chris, and he's like a side villain. And now Rel is going to try and lift the curse off him by giving it to the side villain, but he fails, and now he dies. Apparently, he was going to have a tragic accident where he fell into a weird grinder machine at a factory, and his death is even more fucked up than the others. He like gets his arm ripped off. He's like very clearly practical effects, arterial spray, blood, and everything. And then he just fucking finally splatters into a jillion pieces. Real disgusting gore. But then they do the thing I fucking hate, which is, oh, we just have to die. We don't have to stay dead. Then you weren't dead. You're telling me this ancient death spirit, this cursed ancient death whistle, is gonna be outwitted by a fucking modern technicality? Are you kidding me? Look, just because your heart stops doesn't mean you're dead. That hasn't been a standard for death for years. People have their hearts stopped deliberately during surgeries all the time, like heart surgeries, and have their blood flow replaced through a machine. Were they dead? No. People's hearts stop beating and they get resuscitated all the time. Were they dead and came back from the dead? No. Stop telling people this. Stop using it as a gimmick in your movies, especially when you're talking about supernatural death curses. It's dumb. I'm okay. I promise. I don't usually, I try really hard to not get this kind of aggressive about it, because everybody's got their own thing and, tell the stories, but it's just one of the most ridiculous. Did the same thing. I'm going to have to beep that because it's going to spoil it for people who haven't seen that, but god damn it. I hate it. It's the silliest damn thing in the world, and it gets used way too often.
Yeah. I do think that...
and so she doesn't
die.
The
movie that you just mentioned that maybe bleeped out did it a lot better, though.
Well, it's, you can only shine a turd so much, It's still a turd.
I think the issue, or maybe not the issue, but it seemed like it was done so much better because overall I had a lot more fun watching that movie than I had watching this one. So I'll suspend my disbelief if I'm having a good time.
Yeah. So just to bring the plot summary to a close, her heart stops and then she comes, like they fix everything and she comes back to life and then she saves her girlfriend's life. There's this whole side plot about how she's gay and then there's this other, and it's, what I liked about that part is it's never a part of the story, right? It's just your typical, this kind of movie love story that's completely fucking unnecessary. It just happens to be two girls, and I at least appreciate that if you're going to put that storyline in your movie and you are going to make it a homosexual thing, that it just exists, right? It's never commented on at no point. None of the bad guys even use it as a way to attack them at any point. And so that was kind of cool. I also very much appreciate that literally the only reference we have to Aztec culture is just that whole, we went down there and we stole a lot of things from these people and, maybe we brought back some shit that we didn't understand and we got what we fucked around and found out, but because I feel like a lesser movie would have tried to do more with that and like the mythological background and may have done some really unfortunate things with how they handled it. So I really appreciated that, we got what we needed, it's a fucking cursed whistle that came from an ancient culture and we didn't have any idea what the fuck we found, and so I liked that. But they survive and everything's cool. And then there's this whole epilogue where it's like 6 months later, you did watch the epilogue, right?
Yes.
Okay, because Michelle never watches that shit. She's one of those, credits rolling. After all the things she's missed, she's still... Anyway. So then it all gets passed on, but there was this whole thing earlier where they were like, it'll just keep looking for new people to fuck up. And there's this other girl in the school, and she finds the death whistle. and then she's going to an assembly, and everybody in the school is there, and she's supposed to be playing music on her violin, but she pulls out the death whistle, and there's literally every student in the school is in that room, and she hauls off and blows that whistle right at the end. And that's the movie, and now all those kids are going to die. Whistle.
Yeah, I did watch the epilogue, and I don't mind that they were like, the implication was that all those kids are going to have to go through this now. But why would she play the whistle instead of her violin? Was she just going to walk out there on stage and she's supposed to be playing this like beautiful violin piece, and then she's just going to blow the whistle once and be like, well, that's my time.
Right. Like she clearly hasn't had time. How does she even know it's a whistle? Right? She clearly hasn't even had time to test it or find out what it is.
She just found it in her locker. So this whistle is in like an urn kind of container, and it just keeps showing up in the same locker over and over again, even after the original guy, that the basketball guy, like smashes it, and then it just kind of reappears in the locker.
Well,
I don't know.
It's cursed.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of, because this is, like, I immediately was like, oh, this is the kind of movie where they're just begging for a sequel, right? And so here's my thought, is maybe they make a sequel, and it turns out that sequence of the girl about to blow the whistle in the auditorium is like a nightmare that Chris is having, and that's how it starts at the beginning. She wakes up, and like she's in college now, but she's still haunted by the whistle, and fucking who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
What I gotta do is pray to God they don't listen to this, and Lord knows they won't. So pray to God they won't listen, please. But my worst fear is that somebody's going to hear that and they're going to be like, oh, that's a great fucking idea. We need a sequel, and it's going to be my fault.
They're like, we weren't going to make a sequel, but now.
Right. Not until we
are.
heard JD's brilliant idea of how to get us out of that corner we painted ourselves into right at the end.
We heard these two people on a podcast just ripping our movie apart, but they had some good points. And
Look,
now we're
man, I'll tell you how to fix your movie. Cut the love interest story because we don't need it. And I mean both of them. You cut the whole angle between, between Ellie and Chris. They okay, so they're there and they're, maybe you mention it, but it doesn't have to be a whole character thing. You drop the whole angle between Rel and the other girl. Totally unnecessary. You streamline this fucking thing a bit. Those guys, like, you take that jock and you just switch him from a guy who's like a deliberate dickhead asshole, and you just make him kind of like a bumbling dope who just stumbles into saying the wrong thing and being that kind of guy. This whole thing makes a whole lot more sense. And maybe it's, I don't know if I would like it as much, or if I would like it anymore, but I don't know. I think there are things that could have been done to really kind of tighten it up.
Yeah, I agree. The group of these students too are so mismatched, but because they're so placed into these like very stereotypical categories. You have like the weird outcast, you have the jock, you have the like cheerleader, like I don't know. And yeah. And then when they do detention together, and then afterwards they're like, yeah, come to a house party and hang out with us. That would not happen. And why they would go anyway, well, they go because both of them have crushes on somebody from that other group. Right. But yeah, they, you don't always have to shoehorn like a romance kind of side thing in there. But I do agree if they absolutely were like, yeah, let's shoehorn something in here. I did kind of enjoy like this like awkward kind of budding romance between Ellie and Chris.
Oh yeah, it was well done. I just thought it was
It didn't really
in fact,
add
I
anything
will
to the
say,
movie. I think it just wanted us to feel more for the characters because
right.
we really don't care about them a
And
whole lot.
and we were talking about this also, at least for me, horror movies, they catch a lot of flack a lot of times for not having a lot of depth of character, for being more about what happens than who it happens to, which, first of all, is not universal. There are plenty of horror movies that are just fucking dripping with incredible characterization and that sort of thing. But a lot of horror movies that don't have that because that's not what they're about.
Yeah.
Right? They're about the situation. They're about just some normal folks who are kind of like you were at one point, or are, we were all high school kids and some weird, social dynamics, going to crazy parties and dumb shit happening, not necessarily like getting murdered by a fucking evil spirit from an Aztec death whistle. Getting in trouble, doing stupid shit, people getting hurt, all that kind of thing. And where the power of it comes is just from that raw relational experience, and just the empathy of like, fuck, how would I react if I was in that situation?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times people are so worried about getting trapped into that, just because there is this idea in cinema in general that's permeated for a long time that if your story is mostly plot and not a lot of character, it's somehow lesser, right? It's not as elevated a story, so to speak. And I just flat reject that entirely. But I think there are a lot of filmmakers who get so worried about that they try to put this stuff in there, when frankly I feel it would have been a much better movie if we just trimmed that out and got to the point.
Yeah, I agree. Not every movie needs like this in-depth backstory or needs a lot of emotion. Because honestly, I think the emotion in this movie kind of comes from the main character, Chris, and her. She tells a little story. Like they hint at her maybe being clean now from drugs, and that something terrible happened to her dad. And then later she admits to Ellie, I think, that she used to be an addict and had OD'd, and her dad was driving her to the hospital and got into a terrible car accident where he died in the accident. So she feels incredibly guilty and awful about this. Like in this movie, you're gonna make it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Like in this movie in particular, that's a lot. That's a lot to process, and that's kind of the catalyst for her being like, no, wait, I've already died once. That's the secret to this. We'll figure it out. So then,
spoiler alert, no, you fucking didn't.
No. Did we just established this well, in a lot of movies, that your heart stopping does not mean that you are dead. And also their plan is to, I think, did they just like inject Ellie with a bunch of like insulin or something?
No,
is that what they were going to do?
I was worried that was what, because I'm a diabetic, right? And I also lived with my dad and my mom both being diabetic for a long, long time. I know some fucking shit about diabetes. Mm-hmm. And so I started, and I was like, immediately, I was like, jacking yourself up with a bunch of insulin is a terrible idea, but it's not going to kill you instantly. It's probably going to be long and not fun at all. But Ellie mentions at some point, she specifically says, and I made note of this because I was like, are they going to address this or just expect me to buy it? And she says, just taking a bunch of insulin won't cause cardiac arrest.
Oh, that's
right. And then
right.
She takes out some other medications. I don't know specifically what they were. I wasn't paying enough attention. But because I was just like, oh, fucking thank God they at least noted that just shooting yourself, what it will do is it will bottom out your blood sugar and you will start to shake and all of your insides will start to fail and it'll be really fucking awful as you go into diabetic shock and probably die after stretch of time, but it's not gonna fucking kill you instantly. And it didn't kill you anyway, just because your heart stopped.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. They were talking about that, and then she's like, "No, never mind." And then she just had a bunch of other random drugs or something in her car because she's a nurse, I guess.
Oh,
They just carry crates of medication around that can stop your heart.
That was another thing that blew my mind. It's just like, oh, come on. She's in high school.
Yeah.
And she's a nursing intern, and she says, I've seen plenty of dead people in the emergency room. They are not letting, like, a fucking 17-year-old high school nurse intern deal with emergency room death situations. Are you out of your mind?
We saw her at work. She sits at the front desk.
Wow.
Yeah, there were just a lot of little moments like that where I'm like, this is ridiculous. Also, I hated the weird villain guy who was a preacher but also a drug dealer. I hated his character, which I guess is kind of the point, but also it just felt so direct, like, this is a bad guy. I don't know. I couldn't get with it.
And that is another thing that I think you could have just eliminated from this, because clearly what it's trying to do is a couple of things. It's trying to build more on Chris's story by, it's like, oh, she's coming back from being an addict and an overdose and all this, and now she's immediately got this presence in her life trying to bring her back into that. Plus, then it's also trying to be like, oh, not only is he a drug dealer, but he's also a preacher's kid. And so there's that whole sort of dichotomy going on. And, like, you know, that's kind of how he covers things up. But he's slinging all sorts of drugs all over town. And some kid died because of his drugs and nothing happened to him. And then he's like, and the only actual necessary plot point he serves here is when Rel is trying to pass the curse on to him because he's a bad guy. But you could have gotten that same point across in so much quicker ways, right? Like, you could have trimmed it down. It could have been anyone. You could have just had Rel lose his mind and, like, kidnap a homeless person or something, right? Because he's fucking terrified of the fact that he's going to die. So maybe he starts going over the edge, right? But, yeah, I could have done without that character entirely. I thought I was... Plus, we don't need a second villain in this story. The villain is... There is no side villain in Final Destination, all right? I will give it that.
Because there doesn't need to be. Death is the villain, I guess.
Yes.
I did think it was kind of fun. Like, I thought I was going to have a lot more fun with this movie when they're explaining how it works, and basically, you know, it takes you out whatever would have happened to you. It says you will become what you would have in your last breath. So, like, Dick Frost, we see him
Principal Dick.
You know, he's like chain smoking cigarettes at some points in this. So when he so the note that I have on him, that's like the only notes that I wrote on like any of the characters, and it just says he chain smokes, and then when he tests the whistle out. I did like that part. So it shows him in his office and he's looking it up like on an antique dealer type site to see like how much they're worth, and it's worth like $38,000 or something, and he's very excited about this. And I think that is more shows how problematic that public teachers just do not make enough money. Because he was like, hell yeah, this is gonna change my life. And anyways, but then it says like, oh, what condition is it in? And he's like, well, I guess I better try it out. So he blows the whistle. I did kind of like that part. I thought that was really funny. And then, he comes back and Death reaches into his body and squeezes his lungs until he dies. And then they're like, oh, apparently he had stage 4 lung cancer. It's crazy. They were like, how is he even moving around that day? Well, he didn't, but he would have eventually.
Right.
A
I
slight,
like that concept.
a slight
a
nod.
lot.
Yeah. A slight nod that was maybe a little fun is that, so his name was Mr. Craven. And I was like, oh, could that be a little nod to Wes Craven? And then when his cigarettes fall and it shows a very quick glimpse of a close-up on him, and the brand is Cronenberg.
Oh, really? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. And then, so I'm like, okay, that cannot be a coincidence. And then a little bit later, it shows when Chris is in her room, there's like a cigar box that she has something else in. And it says, I think I'm saying this right, it's Moschetti cigars, which I believe could be a nod to Andy Muschietti, who is the director of It Chapters 1 and 2, Welcome to Derry, Mama.
Okay.
He was a recent producer on They Will Kill You. So I was like, those are maybe a few little fun things that they put in. Not fun
Easter
enough.
Eggs.
But and then okay, so going back to the preacher guy, yeah, did not like his character, felt like he was completely unnecessary, and it just really felt like they were trying to drive it home like, this is a bad guy, so he needs to be punished because we don't need to care about him because he's a bad guy. And then after he gets kidnapped and Rel drugs him with his own drugs to try and kill him, I guess, and pass the curse on. And then Rel's arm gets shredded off, which is a wild scene. So there's blood shooting out everywhere, and like his arm just looks like shredded beef jerky, and there's blood shooting out everywhere, and there's like noises of, I don't know, gears and stuff going on. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but this is fun. And then the preacher guy like gets loose from his chair that he's tied into, and now he's in like some sort of rage. So he's gonna kill Chris and Ellie as they're trying to revive each other or whatever. And then he just kind of dies in the most anticlimactic way. And I was like, okay, if you're going to do all this buildup and make him a villain in this, and then that's how you're going to kill him, like he kind of just dies. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but I was like, that's it?
Well,
that's what we're going to get with him?
yeah,
Because the kills leading up to him were getting like bigger and bigger, because you had, Rel just got his arm shredded off like 5 minutes before that. And then the jock who drives drunk a couple times earlier in the movie to foreshadow this, but he was going to die in a DUI. But yeah, he is in that car accident, and his body is just like contorting, and bones are snapping, and like flesh is getting ripped off as he's just like standing in his room. And that was wild. And then the preacher's just like, meh, dead.
Well, what happened is, so like his future death self shows up, right? Because he's been marked at this point by Rel, even though Rel got caught anyway. And then we finally learn, like, well, what would happen if you tried to fight back against your death self? And the preacher starts shooting at his death self, and every time the bullet hits his death self, it also hits him. So he's shooting it. So I think that's what they were trying to do there in the transition, is now show, even if you tried to fight back, it would just harm you. Because in a sense, it is dead you from the future just coming back to catch up with you. I think that was the idea.
That makes more sense. I somehow missed that part.
But also, even just from a visual standpoint, you're absolutely right. Like the car accident death and the falling into the machine death are such epic set pieces that element of it was a little anticlimactic. It was also why I made such a note of how basic the one girl's death was, where she just slowly desiccates into old age, right? Which certainly sucks, but from and it looked good, but from an effects standpoint, not nearly as much of an impact as the other two.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that does make sense about him, like, basically shooting himself in the stomach. I don't know if I just blacked out during that point or what. I was scared. Somehow I missed that. But it does make sense because that girl that dies of old age, she tries to, like, hit her old self in the head with a shovel, but then she starts bleeding from the head, and it's like she got the injury too.
Right.
But then, yeah, she, like, dies of old age, kind of. She ages very quickly to the point where her boyfriend's like, that's not her. Like, who is that? Like, I don't know who that body is.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, there are a lot of elements here that I feel like there is a movie here that I would have enjoyed more, right? I think there were elements here that I really liked. And, I was a fucking guy with an opinion. I was looking, Rotten Tomatoes, it's not blow away, but it is on the critics, on the tomato meter, it's 64% fresh. So more people have enjoyed it than didn't enjoy it. Don't take my word for it or Jenna's word for it by any means.
Go see it. It's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen or anything like that.
Oh,
like I said, I feel like I'm being so harsh lately on movies, but
no.
not every movie has to have like this crazy plot and all this stuff. I don't mind, like, some tropes and stuff if you do it maybe in a little different way, or just do it well. Like, this could have been just like a really fun just popcorn horror movie to watch, not really think about a whole lot, but they tried to make me think about some stuff and I didn't want to.
Well, and I think the last thing I'll mention is we've both had some moments throughout here where maybe, like when I was doing the summary, there's a whole lot of details that I glossed over that didn't stand out, and little things that you've forgotten. What I always like to point out is, to me, all that is evidence that the movie didn't engage you, right?
Yeah.
At no point was I ever fully engaged to the point where I was really focusing on all the details.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens is the more you enjoy something, the more you're gonna remember why you enjoyed it. Which, don't beat yourself up over forgetting like the guy that he shot himself to death somehow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, kind of by that point, I was having like a hard time paying attention.
Second screen experience.
Just because, like you said, I wasn't super engaged with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Oh, now they're trying to bring each other back to life. Seen this before. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was watching it, but apparently I was just disassociating, staring at the screen during that part.
You were seeing it, but you weren't watching it.
Yes, I was also fighting the urge to like have a smaller screen of something else in front of me while the movie was finishing up. I'm like, no, I will give it my attention, which apparently I did not anyways, but
it's all right.
Yeah, I think if they paired some stuff out of this, it could have been a lot more streamlined, a lot more fun. They could have got rid of that preacher guy, which, I don't know, I guess there's like maybe a message there of like he did this to himself also, because they didn't technically mark him when he was coming after them at the end with the gun. He leans down and touches blood on the ground. So he marked himself.
Yeah.
And then shoots himself in the stomach and kills himself that way too. But I don't know, it just felt like they were trying to like drive it in so hard of the bad guy. This is the bad guy.
Yeah, and also, like I said, to add another level of that whole character arc for Chris, right? Where now there's this presence that's trying to force her back into her addiction and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's fine. He didn't need to play as much of a role in the movie as he did. Like, honestly, he could have just showed up and been like, hey, you want a party or whatever? And then she's
Yeah,
like, no, I do not want that. Just to show that, like, hey, maybe she is still kind of grappling with some of those, like, oh, I don't, no, no, no.
you could have just introduced that character with that first scene where he's trying to sell her drugs and Rel gets in the way. And then, honestly, once you've established that, we don't ever need to see him again until
No.
we get to Rel with him strapped in the chair. We don't ever need to see him again until you get to that point and you have the same story.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, I don't want to
Yeah.
bag on the movie too much more. I do love, Michelle and I do this all the time also, where it's like, oh, we, right before I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have much to say about this one. And then we still made it to damn near an hour long anyway.
Yeah. But, we've been talking about how we've been appreciating some shorter movie runtimes lately, especially if that's all the story that needed to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this one definitely could have benefited from that. It did not have an hour and 44 minutes worth of story.
No,
but
this could have been $1.20 and it would have been, I don't think I would have personally enjoyed it significantly more, but it might have made it to a 3 as opposed to just a 2 for me.
Yeah.
Well, next week, what are we talking about next week? I forgot to look on the schedule. It's I think it's Something Is About to Happen is the name of the film.
Oh.
Shudder's got all sorts. They got stuff coming up every week for a while, which I really appreciate. Yes, nice. Something Is About to Happen is the name of the film. I don't know anything about it because I like to not know anything about it. Then the week after that, there's something called This Is Not a Test. And then the week after that, we got something called, I don't know where it went. It's not in front of me anymore.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the movie next week other than something is probably going to happen.
Something is about to happen. I know that much. Something is about to happen. You know what is about to happen? I'm gonna go shout at my dog, and then I'm probably gonna go to bed.
Something is about to happen is like what my anxiety tells me every day.
Oh man. Should I read to you the tease for Something Is About to Happen as it's written on Shudder? It's not too spoilery.
Yeah,
I don't think. A steamy encounter with a new neighbor who has gone missing leads the recently unemployed Lucia to work as a cab driver in hopes of finding the man that reawakened her latent sexuality.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like a horror movie at all.
Okay. Wow, that is not at all what I would have.
I mean, I don't know what I was expecting.
And now I'm very curious as to how they're going to make this a horror movie.
Yeah, or even horror adjacent for that matter. But yeah, so we got Something Is About to Happen, and This Is Not a Test, and then Smothered. And then The Ice Tower is coming out on Shudder finally. I got to see that last fall. We were going to play it theatrically here in town. And then Mom died. So, that got in the way. But a movie that I will tell you right away, I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to talk about it.
All right. Cool.
Sweet. Well, then, you got anything else you need to let the world know this week, Jenna?
No.
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, I always liked Meowth. I know I'm not supposed to, but I like Meowth. I like what's the sleepy guy?
Snorlax?
Yeah.
That's my guy.
Yeah. Like him.
I like Snorlax. And I like a Squirtle.
Yeah, I do like Squirtle. I do like a Bulbasaur. I always liked an Eevee.
I don't think I know what an EV is. I don't know shit about Pokemon except for about 12 Pokemon that are like, I don't know. They got funny names. A Jigglypuff.
Jiggly.
That's a good name.
Yeah, an Eevee is like kind of like a little like fox thing, very cute.
Oh.
Fluffy little cute Pokemon. I don't know. I think I probably just named like pretty much all the Pokemon that I know. I know like the very like original ones. I was watching something recently about people going through like some generations like past that, and I'm like, what the F am I even looking at? What is this? It's like it's like a rock, but it has a beak and antlers. I'm like, they're running out of ideas. Come on.
You know what's always driven me fucking nuts about Pokemon? So, you have, if I remember correctly, the evolution progression is you start out with Charmander, and then you go up to a Charmeleon, and then you go up to a Charizard.
Yeah.
But, so Charmander is you added crushed together Char and Salamander. Charmander.
Yeah.
And then Charmeleon, you crust together Char and Chameleon. Charmeleon.
Those
Why
are not the
isn't
same.
it... What?
So those are not the same.
Why isn't it... Because it's Char and Lizard. So why isn't it Charizard? Why is it Charizard? It should be Charizard.
Yeah.
I get messed up about the dumbest things sometimes. Look, there was a clear structural pattern happening, and then we just fucking threw it out the window.
Yeah. No, actually, sorry, I wasn't watching a thing. I was actually doing an Extra Life thing this past fall where we were like opening packs of Pokemon cards and then like sending them to people who donated. And I was really into opening the packs, but I'm like, I don't know who any of these things are. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm like, this is crazy looking. This is not anything.
Are there any others? I think the only other one that I know all the evolutions for, because it was another one of my favorites, is Squirtle, and then the Blastoise, and the Wartortle.
Yeah.
Those are, the Wartortle's great. He's a fucking turtle with fucking laser cannons and shit on his back.
He does look pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, all right then. I think we've bored these people long enough, don't you?
If you're still listening to us, trying to talk about Pokemon that we don't know much about.
Who's that
Thank
Pokemon?
You.
I remember that part from the cartoons where they show you the silhouette.
Jesse and James. I was like, they're in love with each other.
Jesse and James, was that Team Rocket?
Yes.
Oh. I'm embarrassed that I even know Team Rocket. Say goodnight, Jenna.
Good night, Jenna.